Hello everyone, welcome to our next Imperial Assault Battle Report. This is filmed at a little tournament we had on Tuesday night. Just a casual tournament, but we only could fit 2 games in, so I filmed both my games, but we couldn't fit all 3 in. We had a lot of new players that were playing during the night, and half of the games were like learning type games, so this is the first game. We're playing the Coruscant landfill, and we're playing the mission One Man's Trash, which is all the crates in the middle there. Those 3 neutral mission tokens, they're crates, because for some reason the acrylic crates, you don't get enough to do this mission, so just proxying those as crates. Right, the lists, I'm running another trooper list. Still want to test things for nationals. So 2 squads of elite stormtroopers, General Weiss, Zillo technique, and a elite Imperial officer. And Aaron is also running Imperial. He's running like a spy theme, so it's 1 squad of elite ISBs, 1 squad of regular ISB agents, 2 officers, 1 squad of elite stormtroopers with Vader's finest, a elite probe droid, Agent Blaise, Zillo technique, and the stormtroopers also have cross training. So Aaron got the initiative for the first turn. He's still very new to the game, like a lot of people at the shop, so it's sort of like a half learning game, I guess. But I do like he's asked me a few questions about certain cards. I do like the spy build. Like, there's a lot of good spy cards out at the moment, and I guess if spies really do help having the elite stormtroopers by using cross training to gain the spy trait. So it really does help that idea of the list of a spy list to really work, especially with Blaise, that they're controlling your command cards. And there's a lot of good spy cards to mitigate people using command cards or special abilities. So it's a good theme for a list, and it can be really competitive. I actually really like Aaron's build here. I've seen similar kinds of spy builds, but I really liked his deck. His command deck was because since he's new to the game, he sort of just picked the stuff he liked, and a lot of the cards actually I've never seen before, and they actually work really, really well with certain spies. So he just moved his officer up. I'm using the officer to move Weiss, which pushes those 2 stormtroopers aside and just end his movement. Yeah, I'm trying the elite officer with Weiss, because I've played against Weiss many times, but I've never played with him yet, and I thought the elite officer, since he could, if you get the single purpose card out, he can possibly make Weiss shoot twice, and if Weiss activates that turn, there's Weiss shooting 3 times, and if that's close range, that could be 3 lots of 2 red dice and a green, so it could punch out a ton of damage. And of course the elite stormtroopers are, I think it's the backbone of any Imperial list at the moment. 2 elite squads of stormtroopers. They're just so tough and resilient, and Weiss's command card, the Endless Reserves, just makes the elite stormtroopers just so much better. Basically just recycling a reinforcement through. That's what his personal card does. So at the tournament that night, I think we got about 8 players, I think it was. It was really good to see a lot of new faces I haven't seen, so which is always good. So he's moving up I think they're the elite ISBs to the terminal. And I haven't encountered ISBs that much. Their ability, how they can force their teammate to shoot or something, is, I think, can be used really, really effectively. So it's basically given that 2-man unit possibly 3 shots, because you can do it once. Which their only downside is the white die. If they had like the same ability as cross training, which they had a black, then they can use the white die. That'd be really, really useful. But having that white die on a trooper, or they're basically a trooper model, can really hurt them. This is stormtroopers shooting at the door, because the door is locked into that room, so I have to play at the door for a bit. And yeah, of course, with all the rerolls and that, you normally can at least guarantee 4 hits on a door if you're staying adjacent to a trooper. This map, the crate mission, I'm still not really that familiar with. I played it maybe 3 times, I think. It's not a mission I like, especially with my kind of list builds. I haven't got lots of activations, so picking up crates and discarding crates isn't really what I want to do, since I've got so few, especially in this list, got so few activations. I can't really waste time getting rid of the crates, because the crates aren't worth that. I think they're 3 VP points each, which isn't really that much, considering a squad of stormtroopers can kill, say, like a full squad of the elite ISBs, which are worth 7. So it isn't that important for me to go for the objectives. And Aaron's using Vader's Finest, so he's using the ability how you can make a shot and then gain 2 movement points. I've never seen the Vader's Finest card in use before. Well, one of the abilities, which basically you use 2 actions to give him a focus, is always good. So it's basically sort of like the rebel trooper card. How you can basically move 4 movement points and gain a focus token. But the stormtrooper one is just gain a focus token and remove a hostile condition, which is really good later in game if a couple of them are weakened or stunned. Alright, so they're all moving out, just trying to kill that stormtrooper. He's mainly just there as a blocker at the moment. And rolling more shots into that poor little stormtrooper. I'm going to get a surge block there. And bites the dust. One trooper can't face another full squad of elite stormtroopers shots, unless I roll three blocks every roll, which is very, very unlikely for my defense dice. My attack dice roll pretty good, but my defense dice absolutely are shocking. So that's the elite stormtroopers done. And I'm pretty sure I passed. I think I passed a bunch of times in the first turn, because since he really out-activates me, like he's got 7 activations, I've only got 4. So in first turn, I sort of want to see where he goes. Now, I'm pretty sure this was Weiss's ability to move two friendly models, their full move, which he does. And then he's just going to take a shot around the corner, I'm pretty sure. He's taking a shot at the door. His ability to choose what dice he gets is really, really powerful, especially because close range is sort of always given, because since he has 2 accuracy built in, you're always going to put 2 reds in there, and probably a green, because the green's standard run-of-the-mill dice. I think green's like the best of all things. So you got a few surges, got a bit of damage, and I didn't really need these blasts going off, so a yellow wasn't really necessary. But yeah, I really do like Weiss. You can do that long snipe shot. You just add 2 blues in there and chuck in, I think a green would be the best bet, so you can shoot possibly 14 squares or 15 squares. But I think his main strength is either holding a corridor or a section and just sitting there just shooting, and with that elite officer making him shoot multiple times a turn, which he's very expensive though. He's 16 points, so he's got 15 health, but he does roll those two black dice, so he is quite survivable. but I guess against things with lots of pierce, that's really is what hurts ATSTs in general, I guess, or just big bases in general. So ISB's moving up, taking a few pot shots at the stormtrooper, which doesn't make the range. And unfortunately, the regular ISBs haven't really got any range boosting surges, so they are mainly a close quarters unit. And we're just checking he's wondering if he could do his can't remember the ability is how he can make his teammates shoot, but we're just reading if it was the person who. The model who is using that ability has to see the target, or the target who's reacting with the shot. So, but we decided that it was the model who declares to do that. So he has to see it, and also his teammate has to see the same model. So you can't do it behind a corner. So the blue troopers next rolls up, takes a pot shot at the ISB. So Aaron's just deciding, so basically adds in an extra white die, which only get to hit, unfortunately, which does 3 damage on him from the surge. And Aaron uses little dice to mark his wounds, which is I think it's a lot better than using those stupid wound counters. If you have the little card where you can put like the 1, 2, and 3 for each squad mate's health on, it's useful. But I think the little dice is a good idea actually. Unfortunately, I have a habit of playing 40k all these years. Whenever you see a dice on the table, you just pick it up without thinking what it's for. And I think Imperial Assault probably has the same effect. It's just a habit. So the trooper ran up, threw a grenade, did 2 damage to everyone. All 4 models there. Play a spy card, so he gets to do a reaction, so he moves in front. I still have 1 movement point, so just deciding if I could still see him, but I just decided to shoot the guy who just moved in front anyway, because I'd have to kill him to get to the others. At this rate. But it's good playing with newer players, because they often pick out things that I don't notice. Like especially there's some like little things with the game which you mightn't see because you're sort of used to playing a certain way. But if a new player comes in and points out, oh, you could do this instead of this, it really opens your eyes to new ways of playing, which I think is the best thing about most games like X-Wing and Imperial Assault. New players sort of like just play with what they think looks cool, and they sort of just go with their guts in like certain moves, and it makes the game a lot more interesting, and also makes players learn a lot quicker too. Like when I first started playing Imperial Assault, I was doing the typical thing. I think most people did was playing all the rebel heroes like Luke and Leia, and a couple of troopers and just some saboteurs, just like a bit of everything. And then you sort of, after a while, you get you sort of want to specialize in a certain theme. Which lately I've been going with troopers, mainly Imperial. But I do really want to try a rebel trooper a list, or maybe a rebel sab list, because I just bought a second box of saboteurs recently, so I want to try out two elite saboteurs with targeting computers. So that could be a good little counter to all the trooper swarms out there at the moment. Since Blast, a lot of people have forgotten about Blast because saboteurs were the king back before the nerf with Blast, and everyone was worried about them. But I suppose Royal Guard was just as good. So I might actually try and bring that back in a bit, because I think a lot of people won't be expecting it. The probe droid did six hits there and killed that stormtrooper. I've never really played with probe droids that often. They roll 3 dice, but I think it's pretty good. But the regular one, it's only speed 3, which I guess is quite slow. But it is for like that, capturing a terminal and just sitting there the whole game. Or just being a nuisance and blowing up in a group of people. Now, unfortunately, where Agent Blaise is, he can't really move anywhere and shoot someone to do his interrogate. So he just moves up and sits in the middle and just waits. Because Aaron now knows that the Grenadier card has gone. So it's not really... I think Weiss can blast. But he does need 2 surges. So that's the end of the round. Everything retaps. We draw command cards. And I was just explaining the turn sequence, because a lot of new players don't know like the exact order, how who plays end around cards first, who plays initiative cards first, or who plays start around cards first, and when the game effects happen. It's a thing that once you play a few games, you sort of get into the routine of doing end of round effects, or drawing cards, end of round effects, end around cards, then start around cards. After a few games, you get the hang of that the system. So I play single purpose on the officers, hopefully so I could do the his orders twice to make Weiss shoot twice. Unfortunately, Aaron does play a spy card, which is if I can't remember the name of it. If he has more spies than me on the map, he can discard. I think it's discard a command card at the same cost that I played, and he discard that single purpose. So no double shots for Weiss, but still gets to shoot once. And I chucked in yellow to try and get the blast off, but just didn't really get it there, and didn't even roll the range actually. Because Weiss has no surges for built-in range, or for adding range. And the officer just moves up. I'm not really sure what to do with him. I just don't want him to die, because he makes Weiss really, really useful, and without him, makes him very, very slow. So no one has even activated the crate. I've got a stormtrooper on one of the crates. Hasn't interacted with it yet. Just because mainly I just want to clear that terminal away before I start to worry about picking up crates and wasting actions on picking crates up, just to have him die from a volley of fire. So it's better off just trying to shoot stuff first. I think Aaron's tempted whether to activate the ISBs to try and kill that stormtrooper that's going to be sitting there, or activate his elite stormtroopers to try and kill my 2 blue ones. So it's good to see that Imperial Assault is really starting to kick off in Melbourne. There's been a few tournaments around. Normally the way it works in Melbourne is that normally for like X-Wing, Armada, Imperial Assault, there's normally a couple of tournaments for X-Wing a month, maybe one for Armada and about one for Imperial Assault. Fortunately, I work a lot of weekends, so I always miss the Imperial Assault ones. I can normally go to X-Wing ones, but I'm really not fussed with X-Wing anymore. I really want to start playing a lot more Imperial Assault, because I find it's a more enjoyable game, and being mission based, I find it's a lot more fun. It's not just take this one list, smash everyone, and then go home. It's more, you have to take you still take a strong list, but it has to be sort of a balanced list, because if you get a really bad mission, well, if you played this mission I'm playing here with my list, only got 3 activations, it is really, really tough. You basically have to try and kill everything else. It's basically just a attrition mission, this one, for this kind of build. Yeah, but it's good, because in Australia for a while there was a big debacle with Fantasy Flight and Imperial Assault. There was some company in Australia which had the license to Star Wars board games, and since Imperial Assault was a Star Wars board game, Fantasy Flight didn't really have the rights to it legally, so they didn't really ship out organised play kits for the first year for Imperial Assault for Australia. So there's a lot of stuff, like focus tokens, damage markers, stuns and that. It's a lot of stuff that a lot of old art cards that we didn't get, which is really unfortunate. I really hope that they actually sort of dig in their warehouse and try and find a whole bunch of these old ones to send to us over here, because that whole legal battle went on for a long time. It took a very long time to settle, but now finally we have organised play in Australia, which is really good. And I think having organised play really picked up the game a lot, and which is always a good thing. And it's one of those games where if you like board games, I think you'll like Imperial Assault. It's my focus stormtrooper just having a peg. To one of his stormtroopers, killing it. This game, if you play a lot of board games, I think you'd enjoy a lot more, because it has the whole campaign aspect. But I personally never played the campaign, because it just doesn't. It's not really something I'm interested in at the moment. Maybe after like all the competitive, like the season's done, so like the nationals and that's done, I might have a go at campaign with some people. But again, it's just finding time to set up a full campaign. And that blue stormtrooper absolutely killed that ISB there, which is very surprising. Yeah, so I think that's the best thing about this game, is that you got the campaign for sort of more traditional board game people who like, say, like Zombicide or something like that. But then you also got the competitive player versus player game, which a lot of X-Wing players and I guess war games like Warhammer, people from Warhammer and War Machine and that kind of thing are into. Originally, I'm mainly a 40k background, until I just got decided with Games Workshop and sold all my armies and bought all my X-Wing stuff, all my Armada stuff, and all my Imperial Assault stuff, and I basically sold all my 40k and just swapped. It's basically a straight swap for everything, for all my Star Wars stuff. So I'm a lot happier doing that. So I actually get a lot of games in, which is the best thing about living in Melbourne, is that since there's probably about 6 or 7 game shops around Melbourne, all in different areas that play different kinds of games, you always only get games in, which is always, I think it's the best thing about FFG games, is there's always players there's always community, and you're not buying all this stuff just to have it sit there and just waste. Now one has to decide whether to try and just finish off those stormtroopers or try and have a shot at try and get Weiss down. Because Weiss, if you don't focus on Weiss, he's almost impossible to kill. You really have to focus on him really strongly in a turn or two, actually kill Weiss. There's no point just picking a damage here or there off, because having the repair card in my hand, or my deck I should say, healing 3 damage is sometimes just so crucial. Like, get him down close to death, just do that, and he's still got like 5 health left, and he's just so tough. Rolling those 2 black dice is just so hard for a lot of things to get through, unless they have PS3, like lightsabers. That's probably the one thing they can try and cut through Weiss, but a lot of other things really do struggle with him. So using Weiss's ability to move that stormtrooper back. Just deciding whether I should move the red stormtrooper, which I do. So it moves into the difficult ground. And then Weiss decides to take a shot. Pretty sure he does. Yeah, just deciding whether to shoot the ISB or the stormtrooper. But anyway, yeah. So back to the organised play thing. Fortunately, Imperial Assault it's growing very quickly, which is I like to see. It's always good getting new players in, and I think it's a game that still feels really fresh, and just different. Like X-Wing is one of those games where it's basically just dogfighting. That's all it is. At least with IA and I guess Armada as well, to some extent. The missions do really change the game, and I guess that's what makes it really interesting, because every time you buy an expansion pack, you get one map and 2 missions, so there's probably about 30 different missions out there at the moment, probably even more. And they only do use 6 missions in rotation for tournament play, which is understandable because it'll take way too long to sift through 30 maps. Element of surprise on the stormtrooper shooting the ISB and takes him down, no problem. That's the power of focus up stormtroopers. And Aaron was just asking about the difficult ground, how that works. Yeah, about saying how when you move into it, it's 2 spaces, but when you move out onto a normal piece, it's just 1 space. Yeah, so this is sort of an experiment list using Weiss. I still do not know what to take for nationals. I've probably got a few list ideas in my head. This was one of them. I just wanted to see what it could do. I think in some lists, this list would be really, really deadly. But having only 4 activations, I think is a really, really risky thing to do. I like my other list. I suppose my other list with Inquisitor, Blaise, and the Snowtroopers. It's only 1 extra activation, but it's a lot more models. Like Inquisitor, 15 health. He's got a white dice, so he's not very survivable, but he's got the health really helps him, but he just hits like an absolute truck. Oh, the Stormtroopers are activating now. Oh, now I'm all activated out, so Aaron can just move around and just do whatever he likes. Really, I've got nothing to react with. That's again one of the downsides of this kind of list. So I think he's targeting the red Stormtrooper, I think. Which he should, because there's only 1 of them left. Actually, both of them. There's only red and blue Stormtroopers, there's only 1 left for each unit, so... Just deciding what to spend his surges on, so he rerolls that with the targeting computer. Because all Elite Pro droids have that, which I always forget about, which seems really, really good. I Zillo the Pierce. Which, by the way, I think Zillo Technique is probably the best Imperial upgrade you can get, I think. 1 point, stops Pierce, or stops PS2 once per round, and you also can discard command cards to add extra blocks. I think it's an absolute bargain for 1 point, especially because there's just so much stuff with Pierce at the moment. Because especially when you're playing against Rebels, Rebels just have so much Pierce because there's so many lightsabers, so many Force users around, like Inquisitor, Obi-Wan, Davith. There's so much PS3 and PS2 playing reinforcements that, again, I still think, I say this all the time, I still think reinforcements is the best card in the game besides Take Initiative, which I just played there, because it just does so much. Your opponent could just Aaron's done really well trying to focus and kill the Stormtrooper squads, but just getting that reinforcements when there's just 1 guy left is so frustrating. I've played against Troopers lists many times, and I always find if you can't kill a trooper, a whole squad in 1 turn, there's really just no point of trying to pick them down to nothing. So, Weiss scooting up. I'm just so I push that guy back just to get him on a big clump. I'm just thinking I need to try and get a blast here. That's all I want. I don't have to kill anything, but so I'll target the trooper with 2 health left. Kills the trooper, but unfortunately I do not get another surge to give the blast, which would have killed both that trooper behind him and the ISB agent. Unfortunately not. Again, I'm not sure why Weiss doesn't have a targeting computer, because normal ATSTs do. I guess I suppose you're paying extra 2 points for Weiss for his. You can choose what dice he rolls and his awesome command card, but it just seems odd that he hasn't got a targeting computer since the normal ATST has it. So Aaron's just deciding what he wants to do here. He has to try and get points. And I'm telling him just kill the red stormtrooper. That's the best way to get points at this stage. Because the crates, no one's scored any crates. I haven't even picked up a crate yet. So the mission is basically just void in this game. No one's even really bothered to focus on the mission, which you get that occasionally. Certain lists don't really want to do the mission. Like, you have a lot of games where both players ignore it and just try and kill each other because it's the easier thing to do. But I think here, Aaron probably should have went after the objectives, because his model count was still quite high. He had 7 deployment cards and he had a fair few models, so he could have done it. And he held the terminal for most of the game until these stormtroopers ran up and tried to take it. Oh, so there we go. So yes, officer ordered Weiss to shoot. I used 2 yellows because I wanted that blast, and I got it and killed the final stormtrooper and the final ISB agent. So at this point, the only thing Aaron can do really is try and kill that red stormtrooper to get some points. Because I'm currently in the lead at the moment. He doesn't kill any of my units yet. We're just deciding what he's going to do. The trooper hasn't taken any damage, but he can pierce and do his +2 damage. He does, and I had 1 health left, I think. I think that's what it was. So the red trooper just moves, deciding whether to shoot the officer or the probe droid. Basically just have to keep him alive now, which I think time was called just recently, so this was the last turn, so I just thought probably the officer, I think, was the best chance. But only 3 health, and the stormtroopers with their re-rolling can normally get to that 4 or 5 damage very, very quickly. So I thought, well, I'll have to re-roll, and got exactly what I needed. So I just surged for +2 and killed. Oh, and Aaron was asking about the pierce there, or his or to discard a card to get his +1 block, but since it was 4 damage and he didn't roll any blocks, there was just no point. Didn't need to discard a card. Wouldn't have made a difference. So at this point, I think we're just discussing what he can do to try and get some VPs, and I think that red stormtrooper was the only thing he could do at the moment, because blaise can't kill an ATST by himself in 1 shot, unfortunately. I wish he was that good, but that Weiss basically just held that corridor like a champ, which I think that's exactly what he's supposed to do, is just sit in one location and just make sure nothing gets past him, make sure nothing goes around and tries to do other things, just hold like group of models in a certain area, which I think he did that, or he sort of kept them occupied enough to stay there. So the blue trooper's just running around trying to kill that probe droid, slowly pinging away. The elite probe droids with 7 health, that's actually quite tough compared to a lot of other things, a lot of other sort of like, I guess, small base things, single small base. Oh, and that was the game. Victory to the Empire. So thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe.